discuss. I think that would be.
Yeah.
But we were remiss not to because the biggest thing going right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home and edit it and post it tonight. So
that'll work.
All right. This is Ben.
And this is Jeremy.
And you're listening to Small Town Stoics. So, because of COVID and my military, it's been a few weeks since we recorded, and so we've got a lot to catch up on.
It's been a crazy, whirlwind of shit.
Yeah, typical of the military. It's caused me to miss some of the craziness that's happened in the last 2 weeks.
Well, you get prime topics to talk about, and when you can't do it, so we got to start with the World Series. We always cover our sports topics, but I think we need to start there because if you're anything of a sports fan and you watched that game 6 is one I'm referring. I'm not talking about the whole series. I'm talking about game 6. That was the World Series.
The one that mattered.
Kevin Cash is a good baseball man. I thought. I still think that. I don't know what the play was there. But Blake Snell was dealing.
Yeah.
75 pitches and only giving up 1 hit, and then you come and get him. Why?
Yeah.
I seen one of those political cartoon things. It was this morning. And it was a picture of Kevin Cash standing off the mound holding the World Series trophy and Blake Snell on the mound, and it said, "On your way out of the game, would you run this over to the Dodger dugout?" But that's true. I mean, that's what happened. All the momentum was on Tampa's side. It was a 1-0 ball game, but Snell was mowing them down.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure him out, and then instantly it was over.
I think he outcoached himself. You know what I mean? Like, there's been so much talk in baseball the last 2 seasons about, pulling your starter before he goes downhill and then going to your bullpen and having specialized pitchers and stuff like that. I think he outmanaged himself.
I think that, and then there was one thing that he could have been looking ahead to Game 7 that maybe bringing Snell back out of the pen.
Yeah.
But I just...
Got to get 7 before
you got to get there.
Yeah.
And here's another thing, too. You talk about that switching pitchers. If you'll remember, in Houston last year, they pulled Greinke early.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? They collapsed. You get that reliever in there all hopped up. He got a base runner on, and he's nervous. He's a nervous wreck already because it's the World Series, an elimination game for you, and you've got a runner, and guess what? Murderer's Row is coming because Mookie hit the 2-run shot. Turner drove that one in.
Well, and so how many times would it have been Snell through the lineup when he got back to Mookie, and then would it have been his 3rd time?
I think so. 2nd or 3rd, at least. It was only 75 pitches. I think it was like the top of the 5th.
Yeah.
So
maybe it'd have to have been 3rd time. He'd already been to the lineup.
We'd let him crumble.
Yeah.
The dude
was... At least show a crack.
The dude, yeah. If he walked 2 runners in a row or a bloop or something like that and just didn't... I don't know.
Well, he's their ace, isn't he?
Cy Young winner, too.
Yeah.
He won Cy Young a couple of years ago. The dude's legit. Him and Charlie Morton.
Yeah.
And I think Morton would have went Game 7. And I think Kevin Cash's idea was to bring Snell out of the pen.
Mm-hmm.
Do the hero thing. But you got to get there first, man.
Yeah.
You don't fuck with, and that's the thing about baseball. Don't fuck with what's working.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as that was over, me and Logan were watching the game, and I was like, dude, it's over. I just changed channel. I didn't finish it. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
It was over. When LA tied it up, yep, we're done. They're it's just get ready. And then Mookie come up, hit the 2-run shot.
Yeah.
Put them up 3-1. That's all they needed. Game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty intense. But if you ever want to write a book or see a video on how to lose a World Series, Kevin Cash should be writing it because that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely questionable in a lot of ways.
Well, you don't scream at coaches like that, like from home. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Usually, there's a clear-cut reason. Is, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
That dude. I don't know. I don't think he still knows what he was doing.
No, I bet he didn't sleep at night.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't even talk to the team. I would have just packed my shit and went home. I'm like, fuck it. I fucked up.
My bad, guys.
Yeah. I cost y'all. Sorry. It's probably y'all's best chance ever.
Yeah.
Because, they're not going to be able to pay those guys. Randy Arozarena made himself probably one of the richest men in baseball, just that World Series alone.
Mm-hmm.
27 hits in the postseason, and then, like, several records that, like, Lou Gehrig held.
Yeah.
The dude made himself rich.
Yeah.
Tampa's not going to be able to afford that. He'll probably be a Dodger when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Or a Red Sox or a Yankee, whichever one shows up with the biggest check. So, that kind of sucks. And then we got the NFL going on. That's always...
So,
the Dak Prescott injury we need to talk about.
We do. So I didn't see the injury.
Oh.
So I just heard about it. But I saw the replay.
Did I send you the picture?
And,
I took a picture off my TV.
I had several people send me the picture. And
bastard.
Yeah, it looked like as soon as I got the first couple pictures, like, well, he's done. Like he's not coming back this year. Because at first I thought maybe he'd like dislocated it. And I thought, man, it's early enough in the season. No. Maybe he can be back. Week 11, week 12 or something.
They got in there.
No. As soon as I got a couple of them from different angles, it's like, oh yeah, he broke it.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see. I think the way he's built, just like physically and mentally, I think he'll be back for preseason next year for camp and all that. I don't think he's not. It's not like he's a Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson who gets by on speed and elusiveness and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think the ankle injury is going to affect him that much once he gets over it. Like once he takes a couple of hits.
Yeah. And see, he's not known as a runner. He's a have-to runner.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that looks. But, the thing about it, and you hear it if you listen to anything on the radio, especially on ESPN radio with Keyshawn Johnson, I immediately go back to his contract situation. Yeah. Dude turned down $100 million and was playing on a 1-year deal, and this is what happened.
Yep.
But, I mean, the flip side of that, how much money did Andy Dalton make him?
Oh, yeah. No, I watched, so...
And last night, I didn't even watch a single second of last night's game. I couldn't do it.
Okay, so we'll get to last night's game in a minute. So the Andy Dalton thing. Yeah, I watched the second half of the game he played, and then up until when he got hurt of the other game. And, I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, Dak Prescott will be the highest paid quarterback in the league next year.
Well, yeah.
Like, they went from averaging, 40 points a game to scoring a field goal.
Yeah. That's all they scored last night was 3 points.
No, they got 9 last night.
Oh, they got 9? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Kicker went 3 for 4.
Oh, 3 for wow. Impressive. So, the last score I had, it was this 3-point game. Of course, I went to bed pretty early. We watched Silence of the Lambs. I was done with it.
Okay.
I can't do it.
So, I decided about halfway through the first quarter that I was watching for entertainment value and not to actually watch football.
That's all it is.
And because they rolled out.
Well, it's 2 shitty teams at this point.
And I knew it was going to be a bad looking football game, but they rolled out first play of the game. They run Zeke up the middle. Okay, that's a fairly normal starting play for them.
Yeah.
The second play they run a double reverse.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so, and they got 10 or 11 yards out of it. It's just a trick play, basically. Like it's a jet sweep going one way, hand the ball off. He hands the ball off to another guy, jet sweeping the other way. And they get 10 or 11 yards out of it. Next play, Ezekiel up the middle. Next play, Wildcat. With a direct snap to Ezekiel.
That just screams.
Yes.
We don't trust our quarterback.
No, yeah. By the second possession, he was 2 for 4 and hadn't thrown a pass forward to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was just like, yeah, this is where we're going tonight. And that's pretty much what the rest of the game was. There was a point in the game where Dallas is up 9-7. In the beginning.
They led?
Yeah, they were up 9-7 at half.
Wowzers.
And then Dallas gets the ball and they're driving. And they're running really base, simple concept, just power run. Running behind Zach Martin. And and they're doubling at the point of attack. And they're getting 5, 6, 7 yards each run. And they're just powering it through. Well, then they get down to like the 25 or something, and they bring out for like the fourth time in the game the double reverse.
Oh, Jesus.
And it'd been snuffed at, it was effective the first time.
Well, yeah,
Line of scrimmage the second time, lost third time, and then an 18-yard loss on this third time. And it killed the fucking drive. And then it was all Eagles from there.
Well, let's go back in time a little bit to how we got to this situation. We talked about Andy Dalton. That hit on Andy Dalton was as dirty as it comes. We talked about this the other night. No one came to his defense.
Yeah.
That tells you your team's broken right there. I don't give a shit if it's the 8th string quarterback. Your dude gets hit dirty. I don't care who you are. You're going to go find this guy.
Yeah.
At least.
Look at the Saints-Bears game yesterday. Did you see the fight with the wide receiver? You need to look up the clip of this fight. So basically what happened was the backstory. The play before, this cornerback had stuck his finger through the mask of one of the Bears wide receivers and pushed him in the face away.
Oh, shit.
Right? Well, another Bears wide receiver, the next play, the play's over. He doesn't attack his cornerback. He runs over to this guy who's facing away from him, rips off his chain, and the guy turns and looks at him, and he sucker punches him in the helmet, which, how fucking stupid do you have to be to punch somebody in the helmet? I don't understand that. But the guy, the cornerback just looks at him in shock. What the fuck? And then the dude hits him again, and then it starts this giant fight. So Bears players are fighting over one of their guys getting a finger in the face, with some words exchanged. And the Cowboys are just yeah, you chief starter quarterback, but
yeah, it's fine.
I got a commercial to go shoot.
Yeah, I mean that's the polar opposites. I didn't, it's the first time in a long time I didn't turn on any football yesterday. I
really?
could not do it. Because my team is utter shit. Love them when I do, but I just could not bring myself to watch any football yesterday because I knew what was coming. I knew that Sunday night game was going to be a turd.
I can't believe it didn't get flexed out.
Well,
they built that flex schedule in for a reason, and I cannot believe that they left the Eagles Cowboys as the Sunday night game.
What was it, a 2-4 and a 1-4, something like that?
It was Cowboys were 2-5, I think.
Yeah, 2-5 and 2-4.
2-4-1. Yeah, for the Eagles. I cannot believe that game didn't get flexed.
And one of those teams is probably going to host a playoff game.
They will. Winner of the division gets a playoff game.
Yeah. And there's none of them. The Washington football team has won, one game, and that's when they beat Dallas. And then the Giants, I think, have only won one game.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
They got a Dak Cowboys, so at least,
No, that's the game Dak got hurt. Was against the Giants.
That's right.
Yeah,
They still
and the Cowboys won that one.
They still won that one. Of course, it was. Yeah, that's right. But still, that division's a dumpster fire.
I can't. I don't understand how a division can be that bad. I could get one great team and then 3 really shitty teams.
Well, that's usually the AFC East or something. New England and the Jets, Dolphins, and then you know what you're getting there.
Yeah,
usually,
but I can't believe there's 4 teams that they're week 7, week 8, and it's 3 wins is lead the division.
And and their only competitive games are the games against each other. At least when Dallas was healthy, they looked better than those other teams.
Yeah.
But they had Seattle dead to rights.
Yeah.
They should have lost to the Falcons. And then, they should have at least have won 4 games.
Yeah.
Just pre-Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And now...
Well, what I'll say, especially, the defense...
The defense is terrible.
If you looked at it last night, the defense looked good. They had 4 takeaways. They had 2 fumble recoveries, and Stephon... No, it's not Stephon Diggs. The safety Diggs, the kid from Alabama.
That's Diggs.
I can't think of his first name. Stephon Diggs is the receiver for the Bills.
That's right.
But
anyways, Diggs is his last name.
Diggs had 2 interceptions.
Well,
and one of them was great, like a slide interception in the end zone. But so it looks great. They didn't have a lot of rushing yards. They held them.
How much is that as the Eagles?
Well, so that's kind of where I'm going with this. It's you're looking at it and they had a fumble recovery for a touchdown and they had a safety. So that's 9 points off the board but
Yeah.
the defense didn't give up out of 23. But then you start looking at it, it's like, fucking Carson Wentz leads the league in like fumbles and interceptions and total turnovers.
Yeah.
You know, and so all those guys out there that are talking about Carson Wentz being like this MVP candidate, QB, no, he's just not. Like he may be like the third worst QB in the league.
Now he'd be MVP of that division. I would say.
I don't even know about that.
I mean,
I don't even know.
That would be a shitty. I mean, that's a tough award if you really think about it.
Like my MVP of the East this year goes to Alex Smith.
That's just because he came
just
back.
Just because he fucking came
Honestly, here I'll put it this way: my MVP goes to Dak Prescott. That's your most valuable player because you can see what happened.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But the Alex Smith thing. Did you see the clip of his family? In the stands?
Winston every time somebody got near him.
Oh my God! Like that, for him to be able to convince his wife, "Hey babe, I'm gonna still play football."
Yeah,
like that's MVP quality right there.
Well, and for those of you that don't know, Alex Smith was kind of a journeyman. He was a number 1 overall draft pick out of Utah, and he bounced around. He played San Francisco, Kansas City. Now he's in Washington. This dude got his leg broken in the most gruesome and it makes Joe Theismann look like a fucking sprain.
No, I read it. It was like 23 surgeries or something like that.
Yes,
like some crazy number of surgeries.
Crazy compound fracture. Like he had bone sticking out of skin. And this cat comes back and is starting in a football game.
Yeah.
So you got to give him all the credit in the world. So moving on from the NFL, let's talk about college football. The big shakeup now is the University of Wisconsin. Man, they're dropping like flies. 22 positive COVID tests. They had to cancel the Nebraska game. That was supposed to be this weekend. Head coaches got it, quarterbacks, and they were the number 9 team in the country coming into this. They go out, they play one game, they kick the dog shit out of somebody.
Yeah,
I think it was actually Michigan. Maybe I don't remember. Anyway,
no, Michigan got their first losses last week.
Okay, Michigan lost to Michigan State. That's right. It was a Big Ten game because that's all they're going to play. The next week, COVID cases. It started with a quarterback, and then I think as of yesterday they were up to 22.
Yeah,
and they don't even know if they're going to have enough players to play.
Yeah,
they don't have a coach. None of that. So. That's kind of rearing its ugly head there. And I think it's just I'm surprised that it hasn't happened in the NFL more. I guess Tennessee has been the big one.
Yeah, Tennessee, and then
New England.
New England had a few cases, and then I read this morning Arizona has 2 positives.
Well, I mean, that ain't
bad. No, so far the NFL for a bunch of millionaires that like to, the reputation that players have. Yeah. They've done actually pretty well because even the Titans one wasn't from anything crazy. Like they had an extra practice. Some of the players got together and basically played catch, worked on some plays.
Yeah, and that's where it started.
Yeah, they weren't like out partying.
I think they had 11?
Yeah,
total,
something like that.
And see, it started with 22 with Wisconsin, and that's coaches and players. So, and they're a top 10 team. So that's not looking good.
Well, they're a top 10 preseason team.
Well, they're ranked. I'm just saying they're ranked. They start this thing. You go off your AP ranking, which is number 9. But I'm just glad that Oklahoma's finally woke up.
They look really good against. Well, I'm a Tech fan, so I feel bad saying this, but they looked really good against Tech. But it was Tech.
Well, the defense looked a lot different with Ronnie Perkins in there, and the offense. Radler only had 2 touchdown passes. Should have had 4 because 2 were dropped. But it was a good game when you're setting everybody in the third quarter. Mordecai's out there in the third, so at least that's a plus. But I guess as far as pop culture goes, the biggest thing that happened was the passing of Sean Connery. You talk about a big fish. Yeah, that dude. Was a big fish.
When I saw that, I texted my dad and I was like, "Did you see James Bond died?" Like,
yeah,
I was like,
for real.
What the hell?
He is James Bond. I always thought friends have talked about this before. He's like, he should have been James Bond all the way through. James Bond aged. Just got older. Same character, same voice.
I know he retired from acting, after he did.
It's like 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no, I think it was earlier than that. It was that fucking gentleman's. What was that?
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, he retired from acting that because of how fucking horrible that movie was.
Yeah,
but I always kind of hoped that maybe they'd coax him back into a cameo for one of the new Bond flicks.
He never did.
Mm-mm. Like even if it was because now there's the big theory going around that Bond's the code name. That like Daniel Craig's Bond is James Bond 007.
Yeah.
007 James Bond is the code name, and that Daniel Craig's character's real name is something else.
Get Ian Fleming's feedback, but he's dead, so you can't.
And so, that's how they try to justify the whole like in-universe Bond looking different and acting different. And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, but it would have been neat to have like Connery as like just a cameo of, the original.
Yeah, that would have worked. That would have been nice. So, what was your favorite Connery movie?
Indiana Jones and Last Crusade.
Well,
and I know that's not really a Connery movie, but I just liked Connery's character in that movie so much.
Yeah, he was good. That's one of my top two. I've got three that come to mind for me that I really like, and some of y'all are gonna laugh, but these are good movies. The Medicine Man. Do you remember this? I think it's like 1994.
No.
He was. You check it out. It's a cool movie. He was this doctor that lived in the rainforest with these indigenous people of South America, and he found the cure for cancer. He only did it once though. This kid had fucking neck cancer, or throat cancer, or some shit, and he cured it. But he never could figure out what he did. He was using their remedies and stuff. He was hanging out with their shaman and all this other shit. Well, as the movie progresses, they start logging the forest as they do, and miraculously they figure out what he did, but it wiped him out. So they had to move off and keep trekking. But it's a really cool movie. A build up to that. I would put that as my number 3. But he stars, and I think it's like 1994, 95-ish. It's my dad loved that movie, and we had to watch it. Dad still got it on VHS, as a matter of fact. But it was a cool flick. The next one you mentioned was Indiana Jones. He was phenomenal in that movie. He made that movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
that was just there was just no question. My favorite of all time, not because I don't like the old James Bonds. I'm not saying they're not good movies, but for me, action flicks in the old times are just not action flicks.
Yeah,
I gotta go with Finding Forrester.
Well, it's a good movie.
It kind of reminds me of J.D. Salinger, the reclusive writer who, and then befriends that kid and helps him. Yeah, see, that was a really good movie. Matter of fact, I watched it. It wasn't that long ago, and then
I'd have to throw because I'm a product of our generation, The Rock in there, where he plays like sort of James Bond,
the convict,
and then
the only man to ever escape Alcatraz.
Yeah,
we were trying to break in this time.
So that was a great one. And then you got to mention the Highlander.
Yeah,
movies.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, those are honorable mentions.
Yeah, they're nobody's favorites, but they're always fun to watch.
The Rock was so corny.
Oh, that's what made it great. Was just how corny it is.
And the older he got, the cornier his movies. Because The Watchmen was bad. Or was he in that?
No, he's not the superhero movie.
I'm thinking League of Extraordinary.
Oh my god, that movie was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Like I can't even make it. I want to like it.
It was a comic book based one.
It was.
Yeah. And then, I don't know, that Dragonheart where he was the dragon. You remember that?
Yeah,
like Draco.
With Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, and that gives him part of his heart and shit. Yeah. All right, that was kind of corny. Very, I don't know. After you've seen Lord of the Rings, I guess that movie kind of just gets blown away.
You gotta think that movie was mid-90s.
Yeah.
So I mean, CGI wasn't exactly amazing.
But that's the thing, he got cast for that for his voice.
Yes.
That was all that was.
Yeah.
And it was a good voice for a dragon. If I don't have a dragon, I guess Sean Connery's voice is who I would want.
No, you're probably right.
You don't want Gilbert Gottfried or something,
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I don't know.
The most annoying fucking dragon in the world.
That would be funny. But you also can't think Sean Connery without thinking the Saturday Night Live Jeopardy skits.
I think that right there, when Daryl Hammond was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Celebrity Jeopardy.
Like every time I hear Connery's voice, like I hear the Celebrity Jeopardy.
Your mother, Trebek. Yeah, busting Alex Trebek's nuts. But you know the thing, what I found strange, is like he was 90 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess people age, but like, you know, he's been out of the limelight for a while, so you don't really think about it. So when League of Extraordinary Gentlemen came out, he was in his 80s.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was what 2012ish.
I thought it was much longer. I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was like
maybe
like 06 or.
Well, still, that would put him late 70s.
No, he was definitely old already.
And then,
yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy, you know, how time gets away from you.
Yeah.
But definitely a big fish, man. Rest easy there, Sean Connery. Rest easy. And another thing I got to bring up, because your dad asked, he gave me a signed photo. It's hanging up there above Henry Rollins, so it's in a prominent spot.
Yeah.
Of Jonathan Banks. If you don't know who John Banks is, Jonathan Banks is I don't know of anything else he's ever done except for the Breaking Bad series. He was Mike Ehrmantraut in Breaking Bad, and my all-time favorite television show of all time. And Ben's dad apparently is a nerd about that show as well, and set me up with a pretty sweet autographed photo of John Banks. So much love. I appreciate it. It's hanging prominently in here with the autograph collection.
What cracks me up about this is you're like, greatest show ever made. My dad's probably top 2 greatest shows ever made. I've never seen an episode. I've never watched an episode of the show.
The concept of it. Okay, there was a show on Showtime called Weeds, and the lady that did her, like Gingy Coleman or some shit's her name. She did Orange is the New Black. That's where she kind of got famous. But she had this show called Weeds, and it was basically the same premise. It was a suburban housewife selling pot to raise her kids. You know, the father had died or some shit, and made an entire series out of it. But it was more comedy. Well, Breaking Bad is the exact same thing, except it's a middle-aged cancer patient chemistry teacher making methamphetamine. So a lot of people thought that that Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, had kind of ripped off Gingy Coleman. But I don't know, that at first that's where I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth, because I'm like, Weeds was all right, but then I watched the first couple episodes and was hooked. This is fantastic. There's 5 seasons of that show. I've seen every episode probably at least, like in its entirety, probably 3 times. Every single episode. You know, it's just, I'll probably watch it again at some point, you know. And Jonathan Banks is a prominent character in there. But yeah, it's killer. Really cool. I appreciate the photo too, by the way. So, yeah, good stuff.
So before we go from this one, I got to bring up one more celebrity death.
Go ahead.
Because for me, it's almost as big as Connery. And I was really kind of upset about how I found out. But just some people didn't tell me. Billy Joe Shaver died.
Oh, yeah. Him and Jerry Jeff Walker within a couple of days.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Billy Joe Shaver was a Texas artist, like kind of down out of South Texas, singer-songwriter. Never got outside of just his genre, never got super famous.
No, that was the same with a lot of those guys.
Yeah, but he wrote a lot of songs that other people made famous.
Very much.
And stuff. But I grew up in my house, and like the Beatles, Delbert McClendon, and Billy Joe Shaver were like the 3 big bands. Like those guys were always playing at some form or fashion in my house. Sure. And so I own all his records. I got his autograph several years ago. Didn't get to hear him play because some electrical issues with his equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like a big musical influence growing up for me, just listening to his music. Hell, he's got a song called "Live Forever" that'll probably
everybody in the world has heard.
Yeah, that'll probably be played at my funeral.
Well, see, so, I got to see him one time, and it was at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, and met him. He's one of the few guys that would go to his merch booth after the show and meet and greet, shake hands. Very consummate gentleman. Yeah, he was a big one. Him and Jerry Jeff both, but I think more him than Jerry Jeff Walker. But Billy Joe Shaver, he's like the Mount Rushmore of that brand of music.
Yeah.
Him, Delbert McClinton,
Emmylou Harris.
Emmylou. I mean, they inspired generation after generation. You know, like Corey Morrow and Robert Earl Keen, guys like that.
Yeah.
I mean, for that brand of music, and a lot of people don't listen to that stuff, but for that brand of music, that scene, that dude is the Mount Rushmore. He is on that huge name. But 2020 is just going to keep 2020 in, I guess, because
I guess
shit has gone crazy. I mean, you get a Mount Rushmore of rock musicians with like Eddie Van Halen, and then the country ones come right behind it. And then not to mention, it seems like 2020 has been hell on baseball players.
Yeah.
You know, K-Line, Gibson, all those guys. It's like, shit, when's it going to stop? Of course, you know, we didn't mention Gale Sayers. Of course, Gale Sayers happened, I think, since our last podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, kind of the Chicago Bear running back.
Yeah.
Brian's song. It's like, damn, just stop.
Right.
I mean, some of these dudes are old. You get it. I mean, like Sean Connery, 90 years old. But some of them are younger, you know. Still, I mean, it's just wiping legends off the board. It just sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you knew this was going to be that kind of year when it starts with Kobe. You're like,
yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I mean, get a whale the first day, and then.
Yeah.
Because that was in January.
Yeah.
And then just a giant snowball of shit after that. It just took everybody with it. I mean.
Yeah. I still think that the first time that a professional athlete or a college athlete dies from COVID, it'll shut it all down.
Well, it'll have to be a really big fish. I mean, somebody will have to go. But I don't know. I think it would have to be a college athlete. You know, they're not getting paid for their thing. But it would have to be somebody like Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Who has it now.
Yeah.
Who's not going to play against Notre Dame next week. So, yeah, he's the big. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
He's the big COVID one.
There's a bunch of Catholics that are excited that he is Catholic.
Yeah, no shit. Apparently his big name, multi-voweled backup isn't always cut up to be.
He came back and won the game.
Yeah,
I did see though that he's fallen out of first place in the Heisman watch or whatever, and I don't really understand how the guy that has been the consensus number one dude's going to win the Heisman all year misses a game for COVID. His team plays poorly at the quarterback position.
Yeah, that was his fault.
Yeah, and then
the defense wasn't stellar.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, he's fallen now."
Well, that should make it number one consensus because the entire team crumbled because of him.
Yeah,
you know, he was the only thing missing, and then everybody just falls apart.
Yep.
Well, they're going to have their plate full next week against Notre Dame.
I don't ever trust Notre Dame.
Well, I don't
ever trust them to win a big game.
They are one of the teams that love to go out and choke. You know, they do it in those championship games. They do it anytime in a big game. But, oh well, this year's a wash anyway. You know, you just look at it like, shit happening with Wisconsin. Wisconsin could turn out to be the best team in the country, but they're going to miss, what, 3 games because of this?
At least.
You know, that could be your national champion right there. You'll never know.
Yep.
So, no, man. Fuck you, 2020. That's all I got to say.
All right. Well, find us on Spotify, Podbean, YouTube. Leave us some likes and comments. Let us know some things you'd like to hear about. Talk to you later.
Later.